This is a fairly comprehensive guide on the evolution of Zelda glitches dating back to the very first game. This video is already long enough, so I have just picked out a couple of the most iconic glitches from each game to talk about, because if I chose to go through all of them, this video would be over 10 hours long. The original Legend of Zelda isn't much of a looker in the modern day, but is the very start of this amazing series. The game itself is pretty basic, and so the glitches within the game are also quite basic. A simple glitch to start off with is where you are able to abuse the screen warp to teleport to the other side of the screen. This glitch requires pixel precision to perform, which is easier than it sounds given the age of this game. By first lining up Link's shield 7 pixels away from the wall, and then tapping up on the D-pad, you have pretty much done the glitch. You can then simply walk into the side wall, and instead of loading the next tile, Link will teleport to the other side of the screen. This is useful for speedrunning as it can be used to reach areas you aren't meant to access yet, and also has another cooler visual use by allowing you to walk around on the HUD. This is done just by moving up instead of to the side, and will allow you to walk all around the HUD, which looks really strange. Just make sure to be careful where you use this glitch, as you can very easily get stuck in walls. Zelda II, although not being the most fun to go back and play, has some really weird glitches that are super easy to set up. The first one being a small quirk that can only be done on emulators, as it requires both the left and right buttons to be pressed simultaneously. As the game never expects this to be done, the effects caused by this glitch are pretty crazy. Link will start sliding around everywhere and build up insane amounts of speed, causing teleporting and even loading errors in the background, like completely removing certain tiles. It's really hard to choose which direction you want to slide in, so this glitch is only really used in tool-assisted speedruns. This next glitch requires a bit more setup and involves a place called Glitch Town. The way Glitch Town can be visited is from one of two ways, the first being using a fairy warp. This is done by using the fairy item off the top of the screen in the mountain village, which will cause a warp straight to Glitch Town. All you need to do to get to this place is use a jump spell to get to the top of the tallest house, and then jump off the top of the screen, and then use the fairy. If timed right, you'll be warped straight into Glitch Town. Glitch Town is a town that cannot be entered normally, and has some very weird features such as strange villages, unfinished signs, and useless warps, with one even soft locking you in the middle of the ocean. The coolest part about Glitch Town is that if you keep entering the first house until the screen stops scrolling to the left, it can cause all side-scrolling areas in the game to stop working completely. Once the side-scrolling has broken, leave Glitch Town to the left and you will find yourself not in a town, but a graveyard. And any side-scrolling area you enter will not quite work the way you expect it to, so have fun exploring Hyrule in its glitchy state. The other way to enter Glitch Town involves the Healing Lady NPC in any of the towns. By talking to the lady at a specific pixel, which is this one shown here, and then just again 1 frame before she enters the house, she will turn around and enter the wall of the house instead of the door. By simply entering the actual door, you will arrive in Glitch Town once again for some more shenanigans. Now moving on to the SNES, we have a Link to the Past glitches, which utilize a lot of clipping through walls and take advantage of the tiled overworld map. The glitches in this game are quite fun to pull off, as the game can easily be taken advantage of to allow you to roam around the map before even rescuing Zelda, to allowing you to enter a cave and clip into whichever dungeon room you want. The core part of most of these glitches comes from wall clipping, which there are several versions you can pull off. The most basic but also hardest clip is known as a citrus clip, and requires pixel and frame precision to perform, as well as only being able to be performed on bottom left hand walls like this one. An important skill required for this is select buffering, which is buffering an input using the select button by both pressing the select button and the directional button at the same time. This makes sure this input is frame perfect and is useful for glitches that require very precise frames. Other forms of buffering in this game include sword buffering and lamp buffering, which work in similar ways. To start, Link needs to be in the bottom left corner of the wall, then 18 frame perfect inputs need to be done using select buffering. These inputs are just down followed by up left diagonal for 18 frames, so 9 of each alternating starting with the down. Once Link is situated in the wall, several more inputs are required to move Link to the exact spot, and although not that precise, here are the several inputs you can do as long as you don't do any twice in a row. If you put in 2 inputs in a row, or if you put in one that's not listed, Link will be clipped out of the wall and you'll have to reset. Once on this exact pixel, one more select buffer down left diagonal press will clip Link through the wall. Congrats, you are now out of bounds. If you perform the glitch here at the start of the game, you can actually continue to the right by first moving Link as low as possible on the screen, and then just heading to the right. Link will pop down and appear on the other side of the guards, and you can now just keep moving to the right to jump down off the cliff and are now free to explore Hyrule. This clip can actually be used to completely break the game by using the way the world map tiles are laid out. Here's what the world map looks like for both the light world and dark world maps. Each tile connects how you mostly would expect it to, at least within the playable area, with each tile connecting to its neighbours. Now the strange part about all this is that the dungeon rooms and caves are also laid out in this exact formation, except not how you would expect. Here is how all the dungeon tiles are laid out. It's pretty easy to see the certain dungeons because they are mostly color coded, but the weird part is how spread out these dungeons are across this entire map, with different dungeons being on the tile next to each other. The fun thing about this is that these tiles work the same way as Overworld tiles, where if you were to head to the right side of the screen, it would load the tile to the right. This means that if you were to somehow get out of bounds in a dungeon, you could exploit this. Or if you were to clip out of a cave, as caves are also located in this map. And if you're wondering why when you go through doors in dungeons, why it loads the correct tile, it's because the doors are just teleporters which teleport you across the map to the correct room. Knowing the power of this glitch, we can use the same clip from earlier in a cave. The specific cave used is the cave just under the blacksmith next to Kakariko village. The clip from before was done to teleport Link downwards, but by slightly changing which pixel Link is on in the wall, we can cause him to teleport upwards instead of downwards, which we are going to do here. So once Link is on the exact pixel, input the down left diagonal input, and Link will teleport up, and from here you will be able to just jump through the wall as if Link was jumping down a ledge. This puts us outside the usual playable area, and we are able to freely explore all the dungeon tiles in the void. In this state, weird collision will occur with both objects and enemies, so to fix this, simply jump out of the wall into a void, which will fix it. You'll also find that you can't interact with doors properly, because the game thinks you are on the wrong elevation. To fix this, you need to find a set of stairs and enter them from the back like this. The game will think Link is walking up the set of stairs and will put Link back to the correct elevation, meaning you can now enter and open doors. Another really cool thing about this glitch is how small keys and big keys are treated in this state. As you can see, I just opened up a locked door even though I have never picked up any small keys. Well, that's because the game thinks I have the max amount of keys possible for this dungeon. This is because of the game still thinking that we are in a cave, and caves are not meant to have any keys. A bunch of game logic later, with the value of small keys being -1 in caves, actually being 255 the max amount of keys you can have, and some other weird game design quirks, it basically means we have infinite small keys, and can open up any locked door whilst in this state. A similar but not related glitch also occurs with big keys, and it's the coolest, most game-breaking part of this entire glitch. The way the big keys work in this game is by acting as a sort of checkbox, which makes sense because whenever a big key is picked up, it unlocks the ability for Link to open a big chest within the dungeon, rather than it being an actual item. This is good news, as if we are able to pick up one big key in the dungeon we are in, which is technically a cave, it will allow us to open any big chest we come across. So from this, if we grab a big key, which the easiest one is this mace guard in Hyrule Castle, we are able to get any item from any big chest, assuming we clip out of bounds in the cave, and move out of bounds to that chest. This glitch can be used many times, and the ability to almost instantly get any item makes this glitch one of my favorites, especially in 2D Zelda. Moving into 3D Zeldas now with Ocarina of Time glitches. Just a quick heads up, these are all N64 glitches, as the 3D remake has similar glitches but different setups or different glitches altogether, and this also goes for Majora's Mask later on. Some quick simple starting game glitches involves leaving the Kokiri Forest early, which can be done in one of two ways. One of the ways is called a Navi Dive, and the Navi Dive is done in the Lost Woods where the entrance to the Zora's Domain is. First, position Link up the top of the stone by jumping up to it from the side, and wait until Navi wants to talk to you. By simply jump slashing and talking to Navi at the same time, it will result in Link falling to the bottom of the pool and being able to swim through to Zora's River, and you will be able to leave to the Hyrule Fields. A funnier way to leave is by getting past this annoying kid guarding the exit. To do this, place Link by the wall next to the sign, crouch, then quickly press A and B to get to the other side. Although on the other side, this pesky little runt will still remain following you, so to completely get rid of him, all you have to do is slowly walk towards this wall until he will just fall straight through the ground and leave you free to leave the forest peacefully. Now with the easy glitches out the way, it's time to talk about one of the more iconic glitches in the Zelda series, the reverse bottle adventure glitch. It's such a powerful glitch as it allows Link to pretty much get any item he wants, even including songs and medallions from dungeons, which makes it such a powerful speedrunning glitch. Now, this glitch is quite extensive, so I won't go over all the steps, but just the overall way this glitch is performed and why it is so powerful. Firstly, you're going to need some magic beans, and then head over to Zora's Domain. You can actually get into Zora's Domain early before you get Zelda's Lullaby by grabbing the cuckoo that's at the start of the Zora River and taking it all the way up to the top of the river. From here, if you just jump at this angle here, you can slide Link past the waterfall that will normally block you from getting in, and you'll be able to enter Zora's Domain. Here, complete the diving game to get the Zora scale, which allows you to get to Lake Hylia. At Lake Hylia, plant the magic beans next to the research house, find the bottle with a letter and give the letter to the Zora King to make an empty bottle. Now you need to become Adult Link for this next part, which can be done through a clip in the Temple of Time. This clip can be a bit finicky and requires a few precise inputs. Firstly, place Link into the corner of the door and line up the camera with the wall. Turn around and Z-target. Now at this point, go into first person and place the camera in this position with the R lined up with this part of the wall, and Z-target again. From here you need to backflip, then hold slightly down left and roll to the left. Immediately side hop to the left, and as soon as Link appears to go out of bounds, jump slash to get to the other side of the door. From here you can then walk up to the Master Sword and become Adult Link. Once Adult Link, the door will still be there, but to get to the other side, you just need to save and reset, which will then place Link on the other side of the door. Now that we are an adult, we can continue with the next part of the reverse bottle glitch. First things first, we need bugs in our bottle, which we can get under this rock in Kakariko Village. While we are here, we can also grab the cuckoo egg. Now we are going to head over to the fishing pond in Lake Hylia, which we can now access thanks to the now grown magic bean we planted earlier. Now at the fishing pond, we are here to steal the fishing rod. This is done of course by first getting the fishing rod by starting the minigame, and then swimming as close to the shore as possible. Once close to the shore, dive with the A button and hold it until Link's feet are out of the water. When his legs are in the air, start mashing the B button. After Link comes up from his dive, he should cast the fishing rod. If done correctly, you'll still be able to walk around with the line cast. We can then make our way over to the door and leave through it, even though there is no prompt to do so. Now with the fishing rod outside the minigame, we can now use it to put a DQ stick on the B button. For this we need a ladder, so that we can dim the B button out. By using the ladder just out the front of Lake Hylia, and pressing the start button whilst the fishing rod is dimmed, it will put a DQ stick on the B button. Now that we have a DQ stick on the B button, we can head over to the Kakariko Village for the exciting part of this glitch. We need to get the bottle onto the B button, which can be done with the bugs from earlier. Empty the bugs and then catch them again. Now backflip, and before hitting the ground, make sure to press first the C button the bottle is on, and then the B button. If timed right, you will see the bottle is now on the B button. Now this is where the fun begins. By putting an item on the C right button, and using the bottle, we get awarded with a certain item. This depends on the item on the C right button, and some items give really crazy stuff, like the broken Goron sword, giving you enough medallions to get the light arrows without having to do a single dungeon. An example of how it works is with the cuckoo we got earlier, as by using the bottle on B, we get the adult wallet, and then when the bugs are caught again, we get the black gauntlets with strength of the golden gauntlets. The amount of things you can do with this glitch is crazy, as each item offers up new possibilities. And as mentioned earlier, the strongest line starts with the Cuckoo quest, as it eventually leads to the broken Goron sword, and then light arrows, which allow you to complete the game super quickly, which is useful in speedruns. Aside from that massive glitch, there are two quick and easy glitches that can be done, which are fun to mess around with. Bomb sliding is a fun and useful movement glitch that is pretty easy to set up, as all you need are bombs. To perform the glitch, simply pull out the bomb and shield drop it right at your feet. Then move backwards while holding Z and R so you are slightly away from the bomb like this. Right before the bomb explodes, roll towards it, and if timed right, Link will be sent flying backwards at super quick speeds. Make sure to be holding down the R button the entire time, as soon as you let go of R, the glitch will stop. This is the fastest way to move around Hyrule, and it's a relatively simple glitch. Another easy glitch to do is the infinite sword glitch, which just requires something Link can interact with, and of course a sword. This glitch will cause Link's sword to be infinitely damaging, even though he isn't attacking, and will cause a white glow around the sword. To do this glitch, stand in front of an interactable object, and hold the R button. Whilst holding the R button, press B and immediately after press the A button. This will have Link swing his sword and interact with the object in quick succession and result in the glitch being active, which you can easily tell by the white glowing sword in Link's hand. The sword will now be constantly damaging anything it comes in contact with, from grass to enemies, and in this state Link will not be able to jump off any ledges. If you guys are enjoying all the Zelda glitches, make sure to leave a like to let me know you want to see more glitch videos in the future. Majora's Mask is a game that shares a lot of similarities with Ocarina of Time, and it also shares a lot of its glitches, some being quite similar to Ocarina of Time's glitches. Bomb sliding returns in Majora's Mask with a slightly different setup to Ocarina of Time, but still the same effects. Hold out the bomb in your hand, and for the entire duration of this glitch, make sure you are holding down the Z button. When the bomb reaches the third red flash, backflip by holding back and pressing R and A. Wait for just a moment, and then tap the A button twice to roll into the bomb. It's important that you don't input a direction on the roll forward, and also remain holding the R button the whole time, as letting go of the shield button will end the slide. If timed correctly, you should see Link flying towards the camera and you've now successfully done a bomb slide. The Infinite Sword glitch also returns, with the exact same setup and effects as before, and becomes useful in a new glitch known as bomb hovering. Bomb hovering is a glitch very similar to bomb sliding, but instead of moving fast, allows Link to hover upwards and can be used to get to locations you shouldn't be able to. This glitch requires the Infinite Sword glitch, as its ability to not fall off ledges is why this glitch works. To start the glitch, you're going to need to position Link on the edge of a ledge, and facing away, pull out a bomb. Just as this bomb is about to explode, backflip while holding the R button to shield. This will make Link hover in the air at a slightly higher elevation than before. This can be chained together to help reach unreachable areas, such as the wall to the Great Bay. This can also be performed with bomb chews in a similar fashion, except the bomb chew is pulled out mid-backflip as they explode immediately, so the timing is a bit harder to do. But once mastered, this version of bomb hovering is much faster. A massive glitch in Majora's Mask is Owl Statue wrong warping. The key to this glitch is a loaded in, out of bounds Owl Statue, which when activated completely breaks fast travel. Before I go on with this glitch, make sure you haven't activated any Owl Statues on the save, otherwise this glitch will not work. The first step is to reach the statue located behind a load zone in the middle of Clocktown. Fortunately for us, we have a glitch up our sleeve which we can use to skip this load zone. This is of course bomb hovering. The location where to start the bomb hovering is on this flower bed here, and the angle needed is the one shown on screen, pretty much in line with the statue. Remember just before doing this glitch to quickly get the Infinite Sword glitch from a sign nearby beforehand, otherwise the bomb hovering won't work. Now in this spot you have to perform quite a few bomb hovers until you eventually reach the other side of the load zone. Once over, activate the Owl Statue, and then head down to where you grab the Song of Soaring down near the Deku Palace. This glitch known as index warping is going to use the position of our cursor on the map to warp Link to a specific undiscovered warp when on the Song of Soaring map. For example, if I hover over the Deku Palace and then use the Song of Soaring, my cursor will now be hovering over the mountain village and I'll be able to warp there with no worries. This happens as the statue we activated earlier does not actually function as a warp spot and does not appear on the map, but the game still thinks we can warp somewhere, so as a fallback it takes the value of whatever location was hovered over on the world map and uses this value to determine the location the cursor hovers over when selecting the statue to warp to. This means that by visiting a place in the game, it will also unlock another location to warp to using the Song of Soaring, so you can very quickly open up the entire map using this glitch. You can even hover over the R button on the map screen to send you to the Great Bay Coast. This is a super powerful glitch as each location opens up places on the map that you should not be able to access so early on, and the game can be played completely out of order with this glitch. Here are all the locations and what warps they allow you to access. It's important to mention that if you move the cursor on the warp map, it will crash the game, and if any other Owl Statues are activated, the glitch will stop working and the Song of Soaring will work as intended. A final fun glitch that's much simpler than the Owl Statue glitch is the 4th day glitch, which will allow you to enter the 4th day without the game ending, or even needing to do any of the dungeons. To do this glitch, you need to head to the Astral Observatory right at the end of the 3rd day. Once up at the telescope, look through it, and right at the very end of the countdown, mash the B button to back out. If you timed it correctly, the old guy will talk to you and the timer will be gone. Now you can have infinite time as time will not pass in this state. To make the timing slightly easier, you can play the Song of Inverted Time to slow down the timer. Now that you are essentially on day 4, if you want to see the dawn of a new day screen, just head down to the Scarecrow and skip time forward twice. The dawn of a new day screen will appear, which is normally only reserved for the end credit scene. The moon itself will also revert all the way back up into the sky, and any NPCs or other time-related events will completely stop working, with some even having unexpected results, such as Gossip Stones and the Happy Mask Salesman. Windwaker is home to some pretty tricky but useful glitches that greatly improve speedruns of this game. The most iconic glitch from the HD version of Windwaker is the barrier skip near the end of the game, which skips the whole latter half of the game with one not so simple clip. It's notorious for being such a hard clip to perform, but a super rewarding one as it skips such a large portion of the game. The original also had its own version of barrier skip that was actually discovered after the HD version, and revolves around overloading the game so that the barrier doesn't load in at all, but isn't anywhere as interesting as HD barrier skip, nor the story behind it. Barrier skip is seen by many in the speedrunning community as one of the greatest glitches of all time, up there with other iconic glitches such as backwards long jumping from Mario 64. The reason why it was so hard to skip is that the barrier was not just a single wall, but two walls, one with knockback and one solid that both reached up high into the sky and entrapped the castle in a cylinder, so it seemed almost impossible to skip, as all the other glitches would not work regardless of how hard people tried. Getting past the first knockback barrier was easy enough, as just by timing the Windwaker on the frame that would knock Link back would nullify the effect, but the next part is a practically pixel perfect glitch to execute. Out of a possible 65,000 angles, only 12 would work for this glitch. This particular angle must be met in the corner of the wall for the final part of this glitch to work. A common lineup is using these tiny yellow pixels on the crest in the top left corner as a guide, which even then isn't always accurate. Once in the right angle, a glitch called item sliding is needed to actually clip through the wall. To perform this glitch, you need to start walking forward, pause, and then holding a position known as ESS unpause. This position is just slightly out of the analog stick's dead zone, and is used for many sliding glitches in Zelda. After holding down an ESS for a second, tap forward for a half second to make sure Link is moving the right direction, and then hold L after tapping forward. Link should start moving to the center of the bridge, and after some time, if the angle is correct, Link will be teleported to the other side of the barrier. This is such a powerful glitch in speedrunning, but is also one of the hardest glitches due to the precision needed in the angles to be able to clip through to the other side. A fun glitch used in dungeons and overworlds to mess around with a lot of game mechanics is known as storage. Storage is a very versatile glitch that puts Link in a different state, which has a variety of effects, from shrinking his hitbox to being able to perform a glitch known as Super Swim easily. Storage can be activated by using the Windwaker and a specific ledge, such as this part of the ledge on Dragon Roost, as the boulder helps to push Link off for the next part. By timing climbing up on a ledge while taking the Windwaker out, and then cancelling the Windwaker 3 frames before Link hits the ground, you will now have storage. You will know you have it if Link is in the Windwaker state, but you can control the camera. Keep in mind that you can get rid of it with actions such as talking to signs or NPCs, or any action which changes the camera. Now that you have storage, there are a few glitches that are very useful that you are able to perform. The biggest use of storage comes in the before mentioned super swimming, which is the best way to move around the overworld quickly in Windwaker. There is a way to set up super swimming manually, but is very hard as it involves a lot of mashing, so by using storage it becomes much easier. Super swimming uses frame perfect inputs of swimming backwards in the water to build up insane amounts of speed. If that made no sense, that's because it really doesn't. But in Windwaker, Link's swimming speed has a max cap of 18 speed units, but can go infinitely into the negatives, which is why a glitch like this works. Every frame swimming forward, Link gains 3 speed, until the max of 18 of course. But the frame where he turns around in the water, he gains -3 speed for that one frame. So by constantly turning around frame perfectly in the water, you are able to build up that negative value to massive amounts. This is where storage comes into play, as even though it is possible to maintain the frame perfect mashing to build up Super Swim manually, storage allows us to simply just hold the stick in a direction to build up the negative speed. So once we have the storage from earlier, we just need to pull out the Windwaker again. We should see the Windwaker icon up the top of the screen, but have full control of Link at this point. In this state, the camera always faces Link like this, as that is what normally happens when using the Windwaker. So by taking advantage of this, and by going into the water and holding up on the control stick, the camera will automatically frame perfectly flip Link around to facing forwards, meaning that by just holding up, we are gaining negative speed constantly until we want to let go of the control stick and start flying out into the ocean with our newfound speed. Another storage glitch, just as powerful as super swimming, is one that occurs on land and requires a chest for it to work. If we have storage and open a chest, something really strange occurs, as we don't get the item straight away, and this isn't the only weird thing to happen, as you will soon notice that Link's hitbox is now much smaller than intended, and he is able to climb up walls and other obstacles in his way. This happens because the model used for Link opening the chest is actually smaller than the usual model, and by using storage, we have applied that hitbox to the playable Link. This is a super useful glitch for traversing places we aren't meant to, like the side of walls or mountains. It's important to note that when using this glitch, that the item usually in the chest won't be rewarded to you straight away, and to actually get it, all you need to do is go through either a loading zone or game over. Aside from these two main glitches, storage also has a bunch of other uses, and is one of the most used glitches in a Windwaker speedrun. Zombie hovering is the funniest glitch in Windwaker, as it allows you to fly while dead, which aside from being really silly, is a super cool way to skip large portions of dungeons. To zombie hover, you have to be really good at mashing, but if you can get that part down, it's pretty simple to set up. In Windwaker, you can perform a jump attack by holding L and pressing A. You can also perform an attack mid-air by pressing B in the middle of it. This glitch uses both of these jumps to gain height when Link is dead. This is because the game only recognizes Link is dead if he is on the ground. So as long as you keep mashing the jump, you can keep flying and avoiding death. For it to work, Link must be launched back from lethal damage, which can be easily set up with a bomb. As soon as Link is launched back, you need to hold down L and start mashing both A and B together. Once Link is in the air, you just need to mash B. It's easy enough to fight against gravity and stay at a level height, but to gain height you really need to mash fast. In the air, you can't change direction until Link hits the floor again, which at that point the game will game over. There are a few strats for having Link live after a zombie hover, with some extremely difficult ones, where you must land on a heart, or a relatively easy one that involves the Tingle Tuner. If you have a fairy on Link, this glitch will not work, as it will be triggered as soon as you die, meaning you won't even be able to leave the ground. The Tingle Tuner is the easiest way of living after a zombie hover, but it does require a Game Boy and cable to connect it to the GameCube, which is a bit of a hassle. The Tingle Tuner works by allowing Link to buy certain items through the Game Boy, which will then be sent to Link in the game. These are all pretty standard items, but the one we are after for this glitch is the red potion, as it will heal Link's hearts back up. So by purchasing this item on the Tingle Tuner, zombie hovers can be timed to resurrect Link right as he is above the area required in a speedrun. This is a super handy glitch, as it can help skip high elevation areas all around Hyrule. This glitch is definitely one of the cooler ones, as you get to fly as dead Link and then bring him back to life again, and it's just the cherry on top that it's actually a useful glitch. Moving on from Wind Waker, which has no shortage of glitches, Twilight Princess is probably the least broken game in the entire Zelda series, with the longest any percent run out of all of the games. Even though it's been out for almost 20 years at this point, unlike games around it such as Wind Waker, having massive time skips still being discovered long after its release, Twilight Princess has remained rather stagnant. Even though it's home to some of the least amount of massive glitches, there are still a couple of quality glitches that can be found in the game, with the most useful one being the early Master Sword glitch. This glitch can be done quite early on in the game, as it takes place in the Farum Woods fight against the Twilight enemies right out the front of the Forest Temple. This glitch is possible due to a wolf super jump, which uses Midnas charge attack to jump up to this out of bounds ledge. From here you can make your way all the way around to this ledge, which if you jump off in the right spot will land you at the entrance to the Sacred Grove, which you can continue on to get the Master Sword. The setup for this jump can be a bit finicky, but there is a way to make it much easier. After entering the room, start heading to the left wall and skip the cutscene that triggers. Come all the way up to this bend in the wall next to the Shadow Beast, and wait for him to stop and try and attack you. Then as he's about to attack you, head all the way up to this big root, and then slightly reposition yourself so you are just in front of this small root in the side of the wall. At this point, wait for the Shadow Beast, and once near you, lock onto it and start up Midnas charge attack by holding B. This next part requires pretty exact timing and positioning, so if you stuff it up, I'll go over how to quickly reset this glitch after. Once you have the attack charge, walk into the Shadow Beast to be as close as possible, and once he attacks you, wait until his hand is at the apex before letting go of the attack. A few things can go wrong with this glitch, so if you don't get the launch right straight away, it's super easy to reset it. To reset it, just quick spin the other Shadow Beast in the room, which will spawn in the Shadow Beast you accidentally killed, and you can repeat the steps from the beginning until you get the timing of the jump right. Normally, to get to the City of the Sky, you would need to not only have the Dominion Rod, but also an ancient skybook to restore its power to move a statue located under Kakariko Village, blocking a cannon that needs to be warped to Lake Hylia to then be repaired and finally used to launch you into the City of the Sky. Well, fortunately for us, all of that nonsense can be skipped by a simple clip that allows you to get to the City of the Sky much earlier than you should be able to. The clip is done by transforming into Wolf Link at a specific angle to clip Wolf Link's hitbox into the statue and through the wall. To line up the exact spot, get this angle here in front of the statue and shield walk up to the corner. At this spot, start holding very slightly to the right until Link moves in line with the corner of the platform, which at this point you're going to want to call Midnas and transform into Wolf Link. If you have the right angle, you should see Wolf Link clip into the statue, and by mashing A and holding forward, you should clip right through, giving you access to the cannon room. Similar to the Wolf Link super jump, Link also has a massive leap in the form of a long jump attack. This leap will propel Link forward and was designed for the use of enemies at a higher elevation or over a void, but can actually be used on anything you can target onto, with the most common object used for this being the boomerang. Throwing the boomerang will lock the camera onto it, and in the GameCube version or Wii U version, you can pull out your sword and long jump attack it if the before mentioned conditions are true. It is also important to note that if the boomerang is out of bounds, it will also have the same effect, because it treats it like it's the void. This jump is quite useful in many parts of the speedrun, and can be used to skip certain sections, jump over gaps, or to leap to higher elevations. I'll go through a couple of uses here, but this glitch, due to its easy to access nature, has many locations where it can be used. You can easily skip the second half of the Forest Temple by using 2 quick LGAs to first jump over the monkey and then over to the boss door platform. In City of the Sky, there are a bunch of bottomless pits which can be used to skip a bunch of rooms in the dungeon. At the start of the game, Midna will block you from entering Hyrule Field before you finish the Forest Temple, but you can actually LJA past it with a precise setup due to the higher ground here. For out of bounds jumps, you can find a lot in the Palace of Twilight, which can be used to skip a lot of the moving platforms. These are just a couple of the examples, with many more being present, so have fun messing around with long jump attacks. The final glitch in Twilight Princess I wanted to talk about is known as Back in Time, and it's a glitch that both Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword have due to the Wii having a reset button. This glitch allows you to play on the save file used for the title screen cutscene, and has a few funny interactions in this state. For the glitch to work, you need to void out and reset the game at the exact same time. This will result in the title screen being loaded from the reset button, but also Link being placed back inbounds after voiding out, and results in Link being playable in the title screen area. The timing is quite precise and can be easier on the GameCube, but as the reset and the void has to be on the same frame, it can take a while to get. Once on the title screen, there isn't really much you can do. You can run around, but that's pretty much it, as none of the loading zones work, and you won't have any items to mess around with. Also, whenever you enter the save select screen, the glitch will end, which can happen if you press A, B, or start too much in this state. If you decide to void out again without Link dying, you will now get full control of Link and won't have to worry about opening the save file menu. Epona is also rideable, which is fun I suppose, but there's very few things you can still do. There are a few other weird occurrences that can happen and a couple of glitches that you can do that involve save files, which do save small amounts of time in the any % run, but aren't really that exciting. The evolution of this glitch occurs in Skyward Sword, which works in a very similar way, but due to some slight differences actually allows you to do a bunch of really overpowered glitches, which I'll be covering more in the Skyward Sword section. Skyward Sword gives us a few fun clips and of course the return of the Back in Time glitch. Starting with an incredibly simple clip, we have the Vine clip, which can come in handy in Skykeep. The entire Fire Sanctuary room can be skipped using these vines here. By moving to the left side of these vines and firing the claw shot at the far right side, you will then get sent straight through the wall and land on an invisible platform. From this platform you can run across the room and claw shot back in, fully skipping part of the dungeon. Another useful clip that skips a massive chunk of the dungeon occurs in the Ancient Cistern. There is actually a hole between 2 floor tiles right at the entrance of the dungeon, and by lining up using this sidewall, you can actually fall straight through and end up out of bounds. To get the angle right, you can just use the wall and Z targeting, and then you are going to want to position the crack in between Link's feet, and then move back and forth until you find the spot where you'll just fall straight through. It's important to do a jump slash after falling through, otherwise Link will void out, as the invisible platform doesn't extend all the way out. From here you just have to carefully make your way around the inbounds area, making sure not to clip back inbounds or fall off the side. You can use Link's shadow here to make sure you know where the end of the floor is. After heading around the walls, you will eventually come to a rope, which if you jump into and climb up, you can now access the basement section of the dungeon and reach the boss key. It's best to kill Link using bombs after grabbing the boss key, as it will place Link back to the start of the dungeon. This is a massive skip, but it's important to note that this will only work on version 1.0 of NTSC and won't work on any other regions or versions. Fortunately for everyone else, there is another skip that can be done to skip the basement, but first requires you having access to the basement. After entering the first door, move slightly to the right, and then side hop until you reach this wall. Backflip once and move slightly to the left. Now if you time a side hop to the right followed by a backflip, you will end up on top of this ledge. From here you can just fall into the gap and then just run around to the boss key chest by running into the wall. Once you have acquired the boss key, you can just use bombs again to kill Link and get warped back out. Now we reach the biggest glitch in this game, which is known as the back in time glitch. This is a crazy glitch that not only allows you to play on the title screen, but also skip large chunks of the game by abusing save file and save points. This is very similar to the Twilight Princess back in time glitch, but can be used to greater effects and lead to a ton of skips. To start this glitch, you first need to get a game over. When on this screen, you need to press the continue button and then immediately the reset button. This will take you back to the title screen, but Link will still be playable after a short glitch cutscene. By pressing A on this screen, you can open the save menu while still controlling Link. If you want to explore the slightly altered version of Skyloft that's loaded, it's a good idea to stay on the save select screen, as if you sit on the main menu screen for too long, it will change to another cutscene. This glitch is already pretty cool, but this is only the start of the back in time glitch, as there are many different ways it can be abused in speedruns. Back in time has many different functions, from skipping almost entire dungeons to unlocking items way earlier than they are meant to be, but the strongest part of this glitch is that it can be used to complete the game in no time at all. The only requirement is a save file right before the demise fight in slot 3. By starting a new file and using the quickest method to kill Link in Skyloft, which is by jumping off this post here several times, we can activate back in time rather quickly. After pressing continue and resetting at the same time on the game over screen, this will load us back up into the title screen. From here, make your way to the bird save statue. Interact with this statue and press save and follow that by creating a brand new file. Even though this just looks like a normal start of the game file, it actually has the properties of the demise file in slot 3, meaning that all you have to do from the start of this game is make your way down to the Faron Woods and begin the demise fight. This is one of the more extreme back in time glitches, as other ones can be done on brand new games not requiring other save files, and these are what are normally used in speedruns to warp ahead to new areas or gain items early. If you've reached this far in the video, it would be great if you could subscribe. It's free and really helps out the channel with future videos. Now onto the 2 greatest Zelda games for glitches. Moving on to some of the more modern Zeldas, starting with Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, being the first fully open world Zelda game, approached game design in a much more freeing way compared to the older games, with a more sandboxy style. This also gave us some of the best glitches in the entirety of the series, due to the amount of freedom the player was given. The first glitch I wanted to talk about is a super stylish one known as bullet time bounce. This glitch allows you to launch off enemies at insane speeds and is pretty simple to mess around with. By landing on an enemy while shield jumping and in bullet time, Link will get launched at a sharp angle and will go flying across the sky. This is a super fun glitch to mess around with different setups, as depending on where you hit the enemy, it will launch you a different amount at a different angle, so experimenting with setups is always fun, seeing which way you get launched in. This glitch was actually incredibly useful in the any % speedrun, as paired with a full damage cancel, it was the main way to quickly move around Hyrule. To full damage cancel in this game, it is incredibly easy. Just hold down the R button and as soon as you're about to hit the ground, release R and quickly switch to either your shield or weapon to avoid taking any fall damage. Earlier speedruns used 5 BTBs, each with their own replicable setups to make sure that it will always send Link to the right spot. This glitch was sadly replaced by some newer, much faster glitches, which sort of made BTBs redundant, but in my opinion there is something so satisfying about bouncing off enemies' heads, so it still has a special place in my heart. Another incredibly useful speedrunning glitch is shield clipping. This glitch allows you to clip through many objects in the game, but is primarily used to clip through all of the Great Plateau shrines, as the entire cutscene where they're activated is skipped in the speedrun. By not raising the Sheikah Tower, all shrines will remain inactive, and the usual way of opening the door will not work, which means an alternative way of getting in is required, and this is where shield clipping comes in. Unlike BTB, shield clipping is still a very important glitch in the any % run, as it gets used at each of the shrines and makes the run possible without having to activate the Sheikah Tower. This glitch works by using a thing called skew, which Link gets from shield jumping on specific angled geometry. By using the switch shield menu to buffer, you can actually see this skew, which happens during a shield jump. This change in Link's angle can be used to clip straight through objects if you have the correct skew. An example of this is the Stasis Shrine, which used to be the first shrine in older speedruns. The first step is to get skew, which is done by shield jumping into this specific spot on the side of the shrine. This gives us the right skew for the next part. Now come over to under this band here and shield jump forwards into the shrine. Using buffering, you need to time unequipping your shield as the skew is active. If timed correctly, Link will now be on the inside of the shrine. If you haven't timed it correctly, as long as you don't land on your shield, you should still have skew and can try again. If you are unsure, just check by jumping into the air, and if you ever lose it, just shield jump back to the original part of the shrine that gives you the right skew. Once on the inside, you can crouch and uncrouch under the lift to interact with it and be taken into the shrine. Each shrine on the Great Plateau has slightly different setups, which I'll show on screen now. Also, there is a wall you can just jump straight through in the Temple of Time, which is used for any percent. This isn't just limited to the Great Plateau, as it can be used all around Hyrule to get out of bounds, with a great example of this being in Master Koga's lair, where you can actually enter it and skip the entire thing from the back. The two most useful glitches in Breath of the Wild are both movement glitches and evolve bombs, but have completely different setups and uses. The first of these two glitches is wind bombing, whereby making use of both bombs and bullet time, we can launch Link at a magnitude of angles and power to reach hard to get places, or just as an overall form of travel around Hyrule. Wind bombing is a super simple concept, and not all that hard to get used to when it comes to timing, as all you need is a ledge, a bow, and bombs. By using the first bomb to launch the second bomb into Link at high speeds, it causes Link to ragdoll and to be launched at whatever angle the bomb collides with Link's hitbox at. Using the cube bomb and launching Link in a cardinal direction will ensure you get the most accurate launch. This is because with the cube bomb, all the faces are facing north, south, east, and west, so you have some sort of control over the circle bomb. Also, the timing of when the bomb is blown up can affect the height at which Link is launched, with flatter trajectories coming from waiting a little longer to lower the launch angle, or doing it quicker for higher launches. This trick is possibly one of the best casual glitches in all of the Zelda games, as the map is pretty large, so having such an easy and optimal way of getting around is so powerful. It's also quite useful in speedruns at a few locations, with the main use being a specific lineup that fully skips having to traverse the large cliff by the side of the Stasis Shrine, and is a good example of how high wind bombing can send you. Once you start wind bombing in your own game, you immediately start wondering how people traveled around Hyrule before, as it is just such an easy movement glitch, and might be one of the most well-known glitches in modern Zelda. The other bomb related glitch is a bow lift smuggle slide, and it's a slightly trickier but still really fun way to reach really fast speeds and travel massive distances by hovering in the air. This glitch is another great movement glitch, but unlike wind bombing, BLSS specializes in quick horizontal movement. BLSS once activated doesn't allow you to change the height at all, so it's useless in cases where you have to ascend up mountains or buildings. It has a much more niche use in being able to reach much faster speeds, and to be able to be maintained pretty much indefinitely. The only caveat is to reach these high levels of speed, it has to be first built up, which can be tricky to do when first learning the glitch, but once mastered you can head straight from the Great Plateau to Hyrule Castle in less than a minute. To perform the glitch, all you need is a shield, bow, arrows, and some sort of pick-upable object, with remote bombs being the easiest, but you can also use pots or even bigger things like barrels, which look really stupid but don't work as well. The object used is important, as depending on the object, the glitch will react slightly different due to the different hitbox. The best object to use for this glitch is a round remote bomb. Now with all the materials, we can start this glitch. The glitch can be done anywhere in the world, but it's recommended you do it near some sort of ledge or slope to fully activate the BLSS. So take out a bomb and drop it at your feet. Now with your shield out by holding ZL, press ZR and A at the same time in front of the bomb. If you time the button presses correctly, Link should be holding a bomb above him with a bow in his hand as well. The next step is to jump, and whilst in the air, press both the B button and the pause button, which will drop both the bomb and open the inventory. If they are pressed at the same time, Link will look like this behind the menu, with the bomb in his hand by his side. Now while in the menu, unequip the shield and back out of the menu. Zoom in with the bow and then cancel out of it. Now Link will have a bomb stuck to his hand. Now that we have achieved this state, to actually fly we need to find that before mentioned slope, and whilst running into it we need to hold down the B button. If approached at the right angle, which is pretty lenient, Link will begin floating in the air and head towards whatever direction you point the joystick in. When in this flying state, it's important to keep the B button pressed down and to never return the movement stick to its default position. If either of these happens, Link will just fall to the ground. To actually build up the insane speeds possible, you have to abuse the funny hitbox of the bomb in Link's hand to push him faster. This is done by moving the joystick left and right and in the opposite direction of the way you want to travel, like some sort of Mario Party minigame. As an example, if I wanted to head north towards Hyrule Castle with some serious speeds, I will need to waggle the stick from southwest to southeast over and over again before turning Link around and heading in that direction. Building up the speed can be a bit tricky as you have to constantly be moving the joystick and can't let it return to the resting spot, so this step can take a bit of practice. The discovery of this glitch completely changed the route of the any percent route, making it much faster but sadly removing the BTBs from the category. The any percent route also uses a pot in the Temple of Time to actually get over to the bomb shrine in the first place, which is an example of using different items for BLSS. If you want to cross the map in record time, then this is definitely the glitch for you. Now onto the newest Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom. The latest game in the series is also home to some insane glitches that completely break the game in multiple ways. The in-depth building and fusing mechanics create some very advanced glitches, but somehow we managed to get the easiest duplication glitch that just involves jumping and holding items. This glitch was so easy to do that Nintendo actually patched it out almost immediately, so it now only works on the original patch of the game. To perform the glitch, all you needed to do was be in the air in some form or another by either shield jumping or paragliding. The easiest way, which can be done anywhere, is just by shield jumping in place. When in the air, open the menu and hold out as many items as possible to duplicate. Once holding the items, if you press the Y button and the B button at the same time, you will magically duplicate 5 items by your feet. This is incredibly easy and can be done with all materials, but sadly got patched out so only works in older versions of the game. The newer duplication glitch is much slower, but still works in the latest update and is the one that you can use currently in your own game. This one requires any decent sized ledge, but I like to use the one in Lookout Landing as I find it the easiest. This glitch isn't the greatest dupe glitch, as to actually start the glitch, you must only have one of the item you want duplicated. You can easily do this of course by just dropping all the items on the ground, but you can only do this with a max of 20 items, otherwise they'll start to despawn. There is a way to actually circumnavigate this part, but I'll go over after explaining the main dupe glitch. Once you have a single one of the item you want duplicated, make your way to the edge of the ledge and face away. Now get the item in your hand by holding down the R button and selecting it in the menus. From here, jump backwards and open up the menu again by pressing up on the D-pad. Now quickly close and open the item menu. If you timed it right, you'll see Link's hand slightly move to the side. Also, on this menu, release the R button to throw the item. Once again, close and open the menu. If timed right, this time a new option to drop the item will appear. Press the X button to drop that item and let go of up on the D-pad to close the menu. If you have done everything right, Link will throw an item forward as well as drop an item at his feet and you will have successfully duplicated the item. A common error that can happen is if you do this up too high, it won't work, as Link needs to be close to the ground when throwing the item for it to actually duplicate. Now going back to the extra glitch that allows you to duplicate an item to above 20, which is the theoretical cap of this glitch, as any more items you drop to the ground will despawn. For this you are going to need 2 Zonai fans and a Zonai gacha machine. Using the fans or any materials you like, I just find fans the easiest. Block the chute where items would be launched out of the machine. Normally when you chuck materials that aren't Zonai into the machine, it will spit it back out through the chute, but because it's blocked, they will remain in the machine. This means I can put more than 20 items in and they won't despawn as they are not yet loaded into the world, but stored in the machine. So because of this, I can just jam all my items into the machine and then do the duplication glitch with one of the items in my inventory. And then when I'm done, I can just simply pull the plug and collect all the items stored in the machine. Make sure you collect the items that come out though, as once 20 are loaded in the world, they will start despawning, so collect them quickly out of the chute. Aside from this glitch being useful for large quantities, it's also really satisfying just seeing hundreds of items fly out like you have just hit a jackpot, so have fun messing around with this glitch. On top of a bunch of easy duplication glitches, Tears of the Kingdom is also home to several really fun movement glitches. One of the earliest found movement glitches is super basic in concept, but can be really hard to execute in practice, as it's highly physics-based glitch, similar to stasis launching in Breath of the Wild. This glitch is known as a recall launch and is pretty self-explanatory. We are simply going to use recall to launch Link, but first we need a long stick and a big plank, with stables being home to both of these. With some sort of spear, fuse a plank onto the end of it, and also set up a wooden plank on the ground in front of you. Stand a little bit away from the plank for this next part. Now we are going to throw the spear directly ahead and use recall on it midair. Quickly switch to the Ultra Hand and stick the spear to the wooden plank. Now run on top of the plank and use recall on the spear. The effects of this glitch range seemingly randomly, but there is a good chance that Link will get launched up into the air at rapid speeds, with some launching you at different angles and heights depending on how the rest of the glitch was set up. If you are looking to travel around the skies of Hyrule, look no further than this next glitch. This glitch allows Link to fly around at Mach 1 speeds, with the only downside being that this glitch can only be done once per save file. This glitch can be done at the Riverside Stable in South Central Hyrule, as it is home to these two NPCs. Using any object you want, wings and planks are the best because they are easy to stand on, place it right in front of the two NPCs. Now simply just talk to them while standing on the object and go through all the dialogue. At the end of all the dialogue, they will wander off as the screen fades to black. When it comes back to gameplay, the object will be teleported next to you instead of Link standing on top of it. Now just grab another object like a Zonai device from your inventory and stick it on top of it. Now when you use Ultra Hand on this object again, you will start floating up into the sky. It's quite easy to control the speed and direction while in this state, just make sure not to unstick it with Ultra Hand or move the camera around too much, otherwise it will break it. Sometimes even after it's broken and hit the ground, it will still work, so you can get back on and fly around once again. This next movement is similar to the flying glitch, but it sadly is only available in earlier versions of the game. This glitch is known as auto build cancel sliding, and is able to be done pretty much anywhere as much as you like. It's pretty easy to set up and can result in a lot of funny shenanigans, with Link sliding around the fields of Hyrule. To actually perform this glitch, you are first obviously going to need auto build, which if you somehow haven't found already, can be found in the underground mines just under the Great Plateau. The first step involves creating some sort of build in the history, which can be as basic as a wooden plank and an apple. It's important to make it nice and simple, as for the next step we need to have all the materials in front of us and can't just use Zonite to make the green stuff. So once you have the build in your history and all the materials in front of you, the glitch can start. Go into the history and select that build. The pieces will be glued together in front of you, but make sure not to build it yet. For this next part, you will have to press the B button immediately followed by the Y button to open up the history of auto build. The timing is quite strange, but pretty easy to get after a few tries. You'll know if this part is done right, as the list will be open while the purple circle around the build will be gone. Now just select the build with A and you will see it be built right in front of you. At this point of the glitch, you just have a plank of wood following you around, but the real fun happens when you jump on top. To do that, just push it up against a wall and walk on top of the build. You can now start flying around on top of the plank with the ability to somewhat control it, and if you fall off you can just simply get back on and continue on your way. This next glitch is nowhere near as simple as some of the other glitches in this game, but the results are crazy. The Zuggle glitch causes several effects, from making weapons do insane amounts of damage to completely clipping Link through the ground, which both are incredibly useful for the any percent of this game. Sadly this glitch is patched in newer versions, so you'll need an older version to try this out, or you could just watch most Tears of the Kingdom speedrun categories, as it's an incredibly versatile glitch. The Zuggle glitch was discovered super early on, and has continued to evolve to a point which makes the final leg of any percent runs a joke, as Link skips most of Hyrule Castle and beats Ganon in mere seconds. To actually perform the Zuggle glitch, it's a bit weird, as it involves overloading Link's inventory by using his weapons. For this glitch you are going to need a couple of weapons and access to the map rune on the rune wheel, as well as the glitch needing to be performed by a wall. The wall needs to be pretty flat, and to check if a wall is suitable or not for Zuggle, you can try and move the camera behind Link. If you can't, the wall is good and you can move to the next step. Now with Link lined up on the wall, we can begin the glitch with a simple goal of duplicating a weapon. For duplication, it doesn't matter if you hold your weapon in your hand or have it on your back, but you will need to start with the weapon you want duplicated selected. Open up the rune menu with L and hover over the map ability. Now as soon as you let go of L, press right on the D-pad to access the weapon menu. The next step involves dropping the weapon and timing it so you reopen the weapons menu. The timing is different to the step before, but once you get used to the slight delay, it's pretty lenient. Select any other weapon in the menu, let go of right on the D-pad, and your map should open up. From the screen, press plus to open the inventory menu and drop the weapon. You should get a "can't take this weapon out here" error message, and now a weapon should be permanently attached to Link's hand. To finish the glitch, just drop the weapon that you originally started with, and all the Zuggle weapons will drop to the ground, which when done multiple times can lead to some funny results. Going back to before we drop the weapons, you probably noticed that the glitch pretty much allows you to use multiple weapons at once. This effect can be done many times to eventually create some super powerful weapons that can take down the strongest enemies in a couple of hits. For this part of the glitch, it's important that every time you do it, you are holding the weapon that you want to stack damage on in your hand, just like this. Simply follow the same steps as done earlier, except just before redoing the glitch again, make sure you select the same weapon you started with, so it will stack on the right weapon. After doing this quite a few times, you should start to notice some weird effects occurring with Link. Sometimes Link will go completely invisible and leave his armor behind, others he will just be a floating head, or even just lose his limbs. These effects are from overloading, and overloading does actually come in handy, especially when paired with a steering stick. As if Link was to interact with a steering stick while overloaded, he would just fall straight through the ground, which is used in the any % speedrun to quickly skip the whole underground gauntlet before Ganon, which saves a large chunk of time. And of course the main reason why this glitch is done is to make super OP weapons. Here is how quickly a Lionel can be taken down with the effects of Zuggling. Alongside stacking damage on your weapon, you can also stack effects such as fire or ice. This is done by just Zuggling a weapon with the desired effects, but can lead to some really strong looking weapons where you can control all the elements or have cool effects. These weapons will also give you the overworld effects of cooling or heating in extreme biomes as well, which can sometimes come in handy. Wow, this video came out to be a lot longer than I was expecting, but I just seem to keep going down like a rabbit hole of fun glitches, especially in a bunch of random Zelda games that I'd never seen speedruns for. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much, and I hope you guys enjoyed like learning about all these glitches, as I had so much fun making the video and trying these out in game, so please do try some of these as they're quite a lot of fun. And yeah, do let me know down below if you try any of these out in your game and how they went for you. As for the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom glitches, if you had any interest in any of the glitches in this video, I've got a bunch of other videos on my channel that you can check out. They all go into much more depth into the glitches and obviously explain a bunch more that weren't in this video. There'll be a few videos on screen right now if you're interested in any of these, and again, just thanks a ton for watching to the end of this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See ya.